Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's Mavs Edge Employer Spotlight. I'm Julie Moy, Internship Coordinator with UTA's Career Development Center. I assist employers with internship program development and direct our Mavs Edge internship program. Thank you for joining us this afternoon. We're excited to welcome Elaine Smith-Poyourow, President and Executive Director of Tomorrow's Leaders Today. We'll meet our panelists in just a minute, but first, students, you may begin sending your questions at any time during the event using the Q&A section. We'll address your questions near the end of the presentation. So let's get started by meeting our guest, Elaine. Elaine, I'm going to give it to you for introductions.
Well, thank you for having me. Elaine Smith-Poyourow, like Julie said, I'm the Executive Director and President and Founder of TLT. We are excited to be here with all of you and look forward to this webinar.
Great. Thank you so much, Elaine. And we appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule to be with us today. I know you're busy interviewing students, which is very exciting for me. I also want to thank you for being such a great Mavs Edge partner. We're really happy to have you here today. Before we get started with questions from our audience, I'd like to turn the session over to Elaine so she can give you an overview of Tomorrow's Leaders Today and its internship program.
Thank you again, Julie. So TLT, Tomorrow's Leaders Today, is a 501c3 nonprofit organization, and we are developing youth leaders through education, collaboration, mentorship. We partner with community and business leaders for the collective business advantages, not only of the business, but for the students. TLT was started in 2019. I founded it. I had myself and my two sons were all in college at the same time. I was doing my master's while they were doing their bachelor's. And I started seeing things that were popping up that were challenges for my sons. And even though we knew all of what we should do to be successful, there were many other students that didn't. And so we wanted to do something different about that. The reality is there's a lot of people out there that don't have a support system and don't know where to go. So TLT is trying to fill that gap. You can't do anything without a good board of directors, advisory board members. And one of the unique features about TLT is that we have a youth advisory committee. This is made up of interns that have been through our program, and they help our advisory committee and our board make the decision so we stay relevant and we continue to grow. Our core values are very important to us: integrity, community partnerships, excellence, and of course, diversity, equity, and inclusion and belonging. So in 2019, the whole world was going and rocking and rolling, and then 2020 came to a halt. We saw many changes, and we didn't want to just sit and wait out what was going to happen. So we went virtual. The first thing we did was we created a library of resources of real life skills, soft skills, higher education, career readiness, and leadership presentations that you can go and you can watch for free. If you want to print off a certificate, you log into our website and you can print off that you did that as well. From there, we decided, what are we going to do to make youth successful in their job searches? Everything shut down. Nobody could do anything. So we created our intern program. Our intern program is for ages 15 and older. It is curriculum-based, hands-on opportunities that will guide you through the career path of your choice. We are doing everything from accounting to website development, which you're going to see in just a moment. These are 100% remote positions. That way we can have many people participate. Through the generous sponsorships that we receive, we sometimes have stipends, but not always. So we do have unpaid positions, but many of the students are earning class credit for this. These are the positions that TLT offers. As you can see, it's a wide variety, and it is entry-level positions. So we have students that are in first or second year colleges, trade schools, certificate programs. We have freshmen, junior, sophomore, seniors in the university systems, homeschooled, and high school. All are participating in our program. By the time a student gets to master's or doctorate degree, they really are overqualified for the programs that we are offering. We do collect data while we're doing our programs, and we do have a lot of females who come and participate with us. You see, we have a wide range in ethnicity who participate, and the average is usually a junior in the university system that is participating. But again, anyone from 15 and older. We have 2% reported that they were of veteran status, and we just started collecting that last year. You can see of all of our programs across Texas, this is a map of what we've covered. 167 zip codes in 35 different counties across Texas is where we were last year. New for 2023, how many were college, first generation college students? And then we had 8% who said that they were of a disability status. And then you see 30% received class credit for their internship. Again, this is all new that 1 year. We pride ourselves in making sure that we're helping those that are in low, moderate income communities, those that are aging out of adoption and foster care, veterans, single families, those that are homeless and trying to make their way. This is an example of our interns for the spring. They are finishing up their internship. They have another week and a half, and then our summer program will be rolling forward. You can see these are examples of team meetings. We meet once a week. This is a mandatory thing because you're going to come and you're going to use your curriculum and syllabus to figure out, all right, this is our project this week. We're going to collaborate. You're going to do that by share drives and emails and WhatsApps and chats and all kinds of fun things. And if you're on the same campus, you may even meet for coffee. You're going to come and then you're going to give a 2-minute summary of what you did all week. And your projects are reviewed and critiqued, and you get mentoring sessions on those. You can see how the program has grown. We had 2 schools, 17 total interns in 2020. We had 58 interns in just this spring session, coming from 24 schools and 38 different majors.
Wow. I don't usually interrupt a presentation, but wow, that's a lot of interns.
Yes, and it all works, and it's wonderful because think about it, you're networking with your peers across Texas in similar fields, and think if there's a good relationship that's formed during this internship, when you get to a job and you learn of a new opening, or if you hear of an opening, you're going to share it with somebody that you know, right?
So true.
Networking is huge, and we build that collaboration and that networking while we're here, along with leadership skills, because during those projects that you're going to work on, you're not just doing the project by yourself. You're working with a group all the time. So these are the different universities that we've reached out to. You can see UTA's top left corner. So what do I have to do? Applications are on Handshake and our website and on College Central Network. They have to be done before April 30th. Now, you can imagine how many applications we receive. You want to make sure you get those applications in before April 30th so that you also have interview slots still available. And then you have to be available for the entire session. We do ask if you're going to be traveling during that session, because we don't have, our servers don't have access outside of the US. That does make it difficult. You have to commit to a minimum of 10 hours. If you're doing it for class credit, many of you need to put in a few more hours than that. You have to be work authorized and pre-approved. Positions are open again to high school, homeschool, first year, second year college students, certificate programs, um, freshmen, sophomore, juniors, and senior students. Uh, these are, again, entry level positions. So you don't necessarily need to know what you're doing when you come. That's the other unique piece about it. You may be in your first semester and you might be going, okay, this is what I'm getting into. I haven't learned about it yet. Can I still apply for this? Yes, you can. So for our summer program, it's going to be May 20th through July 27th. Again, you have an hour-long virtual team meeting, and you see there's options because we know you're going to school. Some of you are working, some of you have families. So we make sure that we have options available that will fit your schedule. Additionally, you'll do a bi-weekly one-on-one virtual coaching session, and it might be as a team, say, of all digital marketers might get together and talk about that, or it could be an individual one-on-one. TLT does more than just our intern program, even though that is our biggest one. We have all of these other programs that we are doing. Most of these are in person, and they're in Denton, Collin, Tarrant, Dallas, and Parker County. Once you come to TLT, it's not a one-stop and go. You're going to be invited to stay around, stay connected, and be involved. We have a LinkedIn group that is of our TLT alumni, and we post job openings. We do webinars. We reach out, and we're working on in-person events, but because we're so spread out over Texas, we're trying to do it in a way that everyone feels included. And why didn't we do it in my section? We can't do anything without our volunteers. We had over 16,000 hours last year, volunteer, become all different participants. And if you use our Linktree link, you can visit any of our Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Patreon, Twitter, or YouTube accounts. This is my contact information. This email, info@tltleaders.org. Again, that's info@tltleaders.org is the best way to reach me. There's other emails for me, but this was the one I have open 24/7, it seems like, but this is the best way and it gets answered the fastest. So with that, I'm going to toss it back to you.
Great. That is fantastic. I just really love so many things about your program. I love the alumni aspect of it. You know, the fact that students can stay connected after they finish their internships. And I love that you're starting to collect data on what types of interns you see, since you have so many and the program has grown incredibly. We don't have any student questions yet, so I do have a few questions. You talked about projects that they work on weekly. Can you give me some examples of what those projects look like and what they entail? And I know it's probably different depending upon the role.
Absolutely. So for our accounting, they're actually going to do a live audit on our prior year. They are going to get the receipts, the bank account statements, everything to actually dig in and learn how to perform a audit. In any of the roles that you're in, there's going to be at least one project to review or create a policy and procedure around that role that you're in. We do succession plans towards the end of all of our sessions, where you learn what a succession plan is and how to complete one. There are monthly, month-end reports that you also are doing around the projects and the work that you're doing, as well as for graphic design, you're going to be creating content and maybe some graphics to put out on social media. You'll collaborate with digital marketing, website development, and other team members in order to get the work from the vision that you see and that you created to actually going live and published.
That's fantastic. So real hands-on experience. And The policies that they create, how many of those are adopted? Are these things that actually they can see come to life?
The policies and procedures that are reviewed and actually shared do get published, and they are reviewed by our board in every quarter. And then those that are approved, they go live.
That's awesome. I know that these positions are primarily remote, but your role, you're in the schools. Can you talk a little bit about some of the things that TLT does with the school systems and the community?
So we have our Youth Leadership Academy, where we actually are going to community centers, into schools, middle schools and high schools. We're going to places of business where we hold our sessions, where we're bringing the youth together to learn about their city that they live in. So it's specific to the town that they're in. So they'll learn about the city government. They'll learn about what nonprofit resources are there if they should need them. They learn about public safety and what their role as a citizen in their own community is, and how they go there. We have a program called Unlocking the Future that goes to other community groups like homeless shelters, or clubs will invite us, or maybe low-income housing authorities will ask us to come in and teach Unlocking the Future, which we bring in 4 weeks of real life skills. And that could be how to do laundry, how to shop on a budget, making doctor appointments. Then we do the next 4 weeks are on soft skills like problem solving and organization. After that is higher education. We discuss certificate programs versus a college versus a university experience. What does that look like, and what might be right for them? Then we also cover job and career searching and interviewing and resume writing, and just what it takes to be successful.
It's such rewarding work. And, I think when people hear tomorrow's leaders today, they don't realize all that encompasses. I didn't even realize that you did all of that with the community. So just really great work that you're doing. If a student is applying for a position with you, what are things that you look for? What are characteristics that you would like to see in a potential intern?
After obviously receiving many applications, I can tell you right away, make sure your resume matches your handshake application, that your email address is one that you're going to check often and not just be decoration on your resume, that your handshake email address for your profile matches what you put on that resume, because that's what the school is going to send us to use. And also, when you do a cover letter, make sure that you're sending the right cover letter to the right employer. So I would refrain from putting hobbies like pole dancing or other things. And believe it or not, it has come through.
I believe you. I know you see a lot of resumes.
We see some very interesting things. And please do not send us your social security number. Do not send me your parents' information or any of your reference information at this time. And also, do not send me your transcripts. Employers do not ask for that when you're submitting a first application generally.
Thank you for that. You mentioned cover letters. We get a lot of students asking, what is it necessary to have a cover letter? And if it is, what do we put in it? They're just baffled what to do.
We do require the cover letter. It's an exercise, and this is an opportunity for you to get that experience and send it. So what we're going to ask is that you put it in a letter format. So think about a letter that you would write, to a formal letter that you would mail. At the top, you're going to put the company's name and address. You're going to put to whom it may concern, or if you know that I'm the one receiving it, you can address it to me. You can use the cover letter to say, I saw you on XYZ site. I would like to apply for the following position. Put a short couple sentences why you think you would be a good candidate for it. And then in the bottom, when you're closing, you're going to say, thank you for this opportunity. Again, I'm interested in this position and I look forward to hearing from you. Under your signature, have how we can contact you. And that contact information should match what's in your resume in the header.
Yes, absolutely. So that's all great advice. If they're fortunate enough to get called or emailed for an interview, what are some tips you can give during the interview for students? Because this may be their first time going on a job interview.
So let's even step back a bit. If I am looking over your resume and say, yes, I'm going to invite this person, I'm going to send an email. So respond to your emails that you get from employers. Then, if they offer you a time or a way to schedule your interview, review it and take advantage of that. Don't leave it off to the side for a couple weeks because they're going to think you lost interest. They're going to look for that communication from you that I received it, I'm accepting it, I really want to do this. Once you then have your scheduled time to meet, whether it's in person or it is remote, respond to the invitation and then arrive 5 minutes ahead of time. Not 20 minutes ahead of time, not 10 minutes late, but show up 5 minutes ahead of time, especially with remote, to make sure you can get in and you're waiting.
Right.
So when the interview's open, you're there and you're prepared. Do not be sitting on your bed. Blur your background if you're doing it remotely. If you have others that are walking through your background, let them know in advance that you're going to be on an interview and to try and do so quietly and without interruption. Once you're in the interview, be prepared to introduce yourself, say what school you're at, what you're studying, and confirm what role that you are looking to receive. You're going to be asked questions that might throw you off a little bit, like, what is your greatest accomplishment or project that you've worked on? Have that ready to answer. If you're asked, what does being a team member mean to you? Have some ideas about what that might mean. If you are asked specifically about details about the role, don't embellish or say that you can do something that you can't do or you haven't learned yet to try impressing, because it's going to come back and backfire, because you'll probably be asked to do that role or that project. And if you can't, they're going to go, okay, what else about their interview wasn't true? So don't leave any questions about your integrity. Be truthful. And if it's not something that you've done, have a couple questions for the interviewer, like, what is your leadership style like? Or what am I going to do the first 30 days? Is there something specific that you want your team to accomplish in 30 days? It shows that you're thinking ahead, that maybe you have some time management skills, and it sets expectations for you of sort of what you're going to expect on those first 30 days.
Yeah, absolutely. And it shows you're interested again in the position. So you mentioned the interview and people walking by. I'm going to take this opportunity to let our students know, because they may not be aware, but we have rooms here at the Career Development Center that you can reserve and do your interviews in perfect, quiet, great Wi-Fi. You don't have to worry about anyone interrupting you. So that is easily reserved through our front desk. So I'm glad you brought up that point. All such fantastic advice. And, I'm picking your brain because this is what you do for a living. So it's nice for students to hear it from someone who lives in this world. Once they become an intern, what is the best way to make a good impression? If they're meeting with a supervisor every other week, what do you want to see from them?
In our situation, we have a syllabus. So actually read the syllabus from beginning to end when you first get there. If you're going to an office setting, ask if there's policies and procedures or if there's a manual that you should review. Take the opportunity to read it all through so that that first meeting with your supervisor, if you have any questions about what you read, you can ask them. Am I going to be held to this, or is this outdated, or is this the most recent copy of this? Is this what I'm supposed to be doing? And maybe even ask them about their branding and if they have things that have to be done in a certain format. If you're asked to do a presentation, they generally have prior presentations that you can look at and maybe even bounce off that template so that at least you know right out of the gate you're taking their branding, their style, their culture into consideration, and that makes a really good impression. When you do meet with your advisor or your supervisor or team lead, bring questions for sure. Don't just say, oh, everything was great, or maybe bring suggestions, or maybe bring some compliments. Hey, I was working with so and so, and I really appreciated they helped me through the first few days. We were working on XYZ, and I was able to accomplish this because of them. That shows teamwork and camaraderie.
Absolutely. And you really, it's amazing how you foster such collaboration, being that you are spread, you have interns in lots of different locations. How do you manage all of that? Because I know you lead a lot of this, but what does your staff look like? Your full-time staff, I should say.
We have no paid staff. This is all volunteer, and the intern program is mine. This is my baby. I manage all of it. I interview everybody. I do have some help with project reviews. We do bring guest speakers in on our team meetings that also then in many cases turn into mentors. And it not only brings awareness to the community about what we're doing, but it also is a way of networking with possibly future employers. Um, how do I manage it all? Time management and organization are huge. So you have to have a robust calendar system. And we use Calendly to do all of the meetings. It's set up in a format that if an intern needs to change their meeting time, they can do it themselves. It shows availability and whatnot. By having the weekly team meeting and the syllabus and the outlines in place, everyone knows what is expected. We don't micromanage. So this is one way of allowing you to bring your creativity to the organization as well, because you're learning things in school that you might want to try out. You do have some flexibility. Now, obviously, accounting needs to do journals and general ledgers in a certain format. There's not going to be a lot of creativity there, but they can get creative with the budget narrative that they're going to create based on the budget. Or they might be able to go in and create that policy and procedure that's needed for an audit that's coming up. So their formats and their input is going to be very important. So there's room for everyone to share and grow.
It sounds like it. I'm just curious. I love the picture of all of the interns on your team's call. You've talked a lot about the culture. Yes, that's a great picture. So what are those team meetings like, and what is the culture like during these meetings?
A typical team meeting will start off with everyone arriving on time, and we go into immediate breakout rooms for 10 minutes, and there's a different topic each week. So it might be integrity, it might be work ethics, And we try to give you other skills outside of what position you're in so that you are exposed to different ways of thinking. We did leadership styles one week where everyone was given a list of different leadership styles that they may or may not have heard of before. And we suggest that they discuss what is their professor like? What is their parents like? What would you want a future employer to be like? Just to bring that thought. They come back and we talk about that for a few more minutes. If we have a guest speaker, they would then jump in and they would speak about why they were there, what they cover, what their industry is like. Then we start with our 2-minute project reviews and we just call out random, and each one has to have their presentation ready so that when they're called, their 2 minutes start. So the first meetings run right up to that last second of the hour. And just this week, we were finishing some in 37 minutes because everybody was that efficient by the end of the session in queuing up their presentation, giving their summaries. And the summaries are very elaborate and you can see the growth and it's just exciting to watch. Then at the end, we conclude with any announcements or reminders.
They really are gaining a lot of incredible skills, it sounds like, through this internship. Are there any other benefits that you haven't mentioned or touched upon that maybe aren't as obvious?
Well, to TLT, it has kept us relevant. It has kept us connected with the community. And these internships have led to other relationships like with yourself and Dr. Powers. It has opened doors to businesses that didn't know that we were around and partnerships with, all right, let's start thinking about if we can train them through TLT, how can we then bring them into our company? So we're working, that's our next step, is creating that stream of workforce.
Fantastic. I know you worked on your graduate degree. Did you do an internship as well?
I did not because my school said my curriculum didn't need an internship. And I just would scratch my head and my son would go and he'd ask, and we were all on different campuses, which was really interesting, which made our study even a little more interesting. My youngest son was at one campus and he had 5 internships and had a job
Wow.
before he walked the stage. Myself, I was already working, but I wanted an internship and I kept saying, they kept telling me, no, it wasn't part of my curriculum. And so I didn't need one, but I knew darn well that you can get an internship and you don't need to have it for school. That's why we don't require that the students are doing it for class credit. My oldest son, he went through and he did not have a successful experience with his internship. And it took him a year after he graduated to actually find a position that he could slide into with his degree. So it was 3 different experiences. And that's what even motivates me more to want to help and make sure that we can.
Right. Well, that's great. And you've hired a lot of interns, obviously, a lot of UTA interns. Are there any success stories you'd like to share that just stand out?
Oh my goodness. There, I can tell you that 78% of the interns that have come through have reported that they are actively working in the field that they were actually going through. The other 30%, there's 20% are still in school, and another 10 are working on the campus that they were at.
Again, I think that's great that you're tracking all of that because it's important for students to realize that internships are a stepping stone to your next career or your next job, even ones that are not maybe as I've heard people do internships that have led them to what they don't want to do. And
Yeah,
that's still a learning experience, maybe
it
like
really is.
yes, definitely. Um, This is all such great information. I don't think we have any student questions, but one that comes up a lot, do you hire international students?
If they are work authorized, yes.
Okay, very good to know. I know that's a very popular question. We have a lot of international students at UTA, so this is a great opportunity for them as well. So I think we are probably going to wrap things up to be respectful of everyone's time. Is there anything you'd like to add or promote before
If
we
you
end our time?
if you volunteer right now, put that on your resume. Employers like to see individuals who have given of themselves and can be a team player. And volunteering, you are doing just that. You're giving back, you're reaching out, and you're gaining more skills than you think when you are volunteering. And you never know who's going to be standing next to you in that food pantry stocking the shelf with you. It could be the CEO of a company, or it might be the hiring manager for that company, who's there on a volunteer assignment themselves. So look at every opportunity that's out there as an opportunity and a way to grow and connect. And if you don't have a LinkedIn account, create one and have your resume matching that same thing.
Right, definitely. In volunteering, not only are you gaining experience and like you say, networking, you don't know who's going to be next to you, but that nonprofit or agency that you're volunteering at, those can become references that can help you in the next level. Plus, it's great to get involved in your community.
Definitely.
Yeah, I appreciate you've given such great advice to our students. I really, really appreciate you being with us today. Again, you'll find information. I know Elaine gave her information out on a slide. We also have it in our group chat if students would like to follow up or apply for any of the positions. Those positions close April 30th. They are in Handshake. We've also put them on LinkedIn, so students, you can find information there. We will put this employer spotlight on our CDC LinkedIn spotlight page, our YouTube channel, and our student teams channel. Thanks again, Elaine, for joining us today. It's been great talking with you. Always enjoy it. And students who are tuning in, I wish you the very best of luck with the rest of the spring semester, which is rapidly coming to a close. I can't believe it. So
It sure
and you'll
is.
have a whole new group of interns for this summer. So that's all very exciting.
Thanks so much for having us. And please, if you have any questions, just reach out to info@tltleaders.org.
Sounds great. Thank you. Have a good afternoon.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye-bye.